Hey, everybody, welcome back to another issue or episode of Million Dollar Practice Builders. And as always, I like to highlight folks who have who basically can help mentor the people who are watching. This gives you the purpose of this show is to bring to you somebody who can speak to the problems you're having right now in your practice, building it with maybe some answers because they've been there, solved that, got whole new problems. You know, this is how this works, right? So I'm very happy to have today someone that we've been associated with for well over a year now, Dr. Cunico in, was it Sanderson, New Jersey?
Yep.
That's it, right. Okay, good. And she's got a good sized practice there. I'll tell you what, go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell people what your practice is and how large it is and where you are and what you do.
Sure. My name is Dr. Susan Cunico, and I am a chiropractor, and we have an integrated practice. I just became integrated about 2.5 years ago. So we have 2 nurse practitioners, we have licensed chiropractic assistants, we have acupuncturists, we have 3 docs, and a whole bunch of staff. We do decompression, we'll do regenerative medicine, PRP. And it's a great practice. It's a lot of fun. You know, I come to work every day having a lot of fun, but it was always difficult for us because we're out here in rural, very, very, very rural Sussex County, believe it or not, where we have bobcat in our backyard on a tree that I can see here, and they are right in the backyard. Because people think New Jersey and they go, what exit? No. Where I live, it's a town of less than 1,200 people, and people come very far away to see us. But, you know, we also have different niches that I have been certified in. We do spinal decompression, we do neuropathy. And recently, with your help, we've just exploded. So it's awesome. It's awesome.
Well, good. Yeah. So you've got a lot of ingredients going on there. It sounds like a lot of different services and a lot of things. So so obviously someone's watching this, are like, okay, well, how do I do that? You're so big, you got it. It's so all easy for you now because you got it all built or whatever. What is it actually like? What do you have to? What did it take to put that there? Like, how did you do that? You know?
Right. So, and I understand, because for me, I went to Life, University, graduated in 1992, but I'm also a registered nurse prior to that. And so for me, it's always been about the patient. And I was considered, or have been, a straight chiro for almost my whole entire career since 1992. It hasn't been since the last 2.5 years that I did get integrated. And it wasn't easy for me because I always want to be on the floor with the patients. But you got to wear many hats. So I did have a consultant, and he's been helping me. And I think that's how I learned about your company as well through him. So he's been, mentoring me that way to my growth. And now I'm just doing new patient exams, but it was a process, and it did take learning, and for me to give up my checklist and give them to the other doctors or give them to the case manager, instead of me trying to wear all the hats and I can't ever get large. So now I'm like, oh, I can just see new patients, and I kind of like wave at the other patients that are coming in. So, but it was very hard for me. It really, really was, because I always wanted to be with the patients. So I know that if I can do it, and yes, I do have a lot of medical background because I was an ICU nurse for many years. When I hired nurse practitioners, I really felt it was, I want to say, a little easier for me because I am an RN too. But they're awesome. I highly recommend having them. They really fit nice in our model, and they do want to help people, inside out and on a whole body scale. But it's a growth. You got to be willing to change and be willing to pass those hats on in order to grow. You can't be answering the phone. You can't be doing marketing. You can't be doing case managing, because you're just going to be stuck. And I have a staff of 15, and it's awesome. It's just really awesome, but it takes time. I mean, I do wake up very early every morning, and I work 2 to 3 hours just on admin before I come to work. And then we have patients all day. And really, my biggest challenge, honestly, was always worrying about new patients. And I've been with many, I won't use the other practice manager names, but great names for many years, probably 25 years, so 30 years now. But it never just seemed to draw because I'm in this little town of nowhere, And I used to do outside lectures, many, dinner workshops and screenings and malls. And I just felt kind of like a peddler at sometimes. And, but I had a strong purpose, and you just get beaten down. And yeah, we did have a nice steady stream of new patients through direct patient referrals, but not enough that I wanted. And again, it wasn't until, again, your company, that we have a 2-week waiting list, even with us now opening 6 days a week with 3 doctors. And we're seeing like 25 to 30 new ones a week. And
Wow.
that's because of, your marketing. So
Well,
again, it's a combination, and me learning and willing to let go, but yeah, so I hope that helps.
yeah, good. Yeah, because thank you for the compliment on the marketing, and we try to do our best job. But what I've found as a marketer, and I admit this almost every time we do a show with somebody like you, marketing is worthless unless you've got the other ingredients together. If you don't have purpose and the ability to deliver, and you mentioned something like checklists that you've got, like
Yep.
I know for a lot of docs, the problem is taking off some of those hats, is even recognizing that they wear all those different jobs, and then
Right.
figure out, how do you get rid of a job? How do you push it down to a staff member so it's no longer your problem every day? That's a
Right.
challenge. How did
And it
you
is.
ever?
Yeah. Well, and every position here has a checklist. And it's funny, this morning I just said to somebody, where's it on your checklist? Show it to me. We like to like train before we, would reprimand, right? So, because I'm like, well, who's supposed to be doing that? And well, is it on their checklist? We'll always go to their checklist first. So in order to be in power on your position, right, or to be affluent in your area, in your position, you need to have written everything down. Like it goes from our billers to the case managers to the new patient letters that we send out. We still like to, handwrite a little note on them as well. Even I can say this too, and maybe we'll get to that topic in a bit, because this is all new for us, the media marketing. We have one staff member right now who works very close with your portal, which is fantastic. And she goes on it immediately, and she calls and schedules that day. And she has scripts for them. I'm not sure really where we got the scripts from, but we have many different scripts. But it's her again. She's awesome on the phone. She just sits all day long and makes appointments. She can make 7 to 10. She goes, wait till you see Wednesday. That means I won't get a bathroom break. But um, so everybody has a checklist. Even our cleaning ladies have checklists. Our junior assistants have checklists. Our
You got a
receptionists
printed
have
like
checklists.
checklist, even like for how the place is cleaned. And so you
That's
basically take
correct.
the checklist, and I assume that if the checklist, something falls out, you can check the checklist and update the checklist.
That's correct. And every week they're handed in to the office manager to make sure that they were done. And if not, because I know, because I'll do, spot checks. And then, but again, it's there to help the patient so we can move as a well-oiled machine within, right? So we don't have any issues.
Yeah, well, that
Yeah,
builds also. It's easy if you do have staff turnover is an inevitable thing. If somebody new comes in, you just hand them the checklist, I assume.
that's correct. And yes, yep. And
Wow.
we
Okay.
have, and yeah, we have a lot of other training portals that they have to come in and train on
Yeah.
as well, but they all do. Yeah.
Good. Actually, how much training do you have people do? I think training is a very important part of building a good company.
It is. So it depends. If you have a brand new staff member, and listen, I have a great team. Like my case manager, office manager, Cindy is by far the best. All right. So she's excellent. So you have to have a strong team there, or I wouldn't be here. And I do acknowledge that. So I don't want to just put all the spotlight on me, because it's really them working, to also make me look good, right?
Yeah.
So, but I do want to acknowledge that. But Cindy, when she does hire, we have a training schedule, so they will actually, even before we hire them, they follow us in the office to see, they shadow us, and I'll pay them for that time that they're there, because if they can't keep up the pace or they don't like it, I'd rather know now than later. And and we'll ask them to do kind of crazy things, do this, do that, just to see how willing they are. Because we want a willing staff member to move that box from A to B or take out the garbage. I don't care, but they've got to say yes and move. If they don't, they're not going to be for us. If they give us that look like, nah,
Right.
or they'll say, wow, it was so busy, I can't handle that flow. And that's good too, because they can't keep up with us, right? And we do move. But going back to training, everybody's mandatory training, a minimum of 1 to 2 hours a week, minimum of one. And of course I pay for it because I want them trained, because all the training is invaluable.
Yeah, well, it's the old joke of you've got an office manager and a doc, and the office manager says, "Doc, what if we train these people and they leave?" And he says,
Right.
"What if we don't train them and they stay?"
Right. Right.
Yeah,
That's
it
right.
seems like it's a big investment to train people, but I don't know any other way to build an organization that is smooth and everybody knows their job. And of
Right.
course, the step before that is you have to have the materials to train them on.
Correct.
So where do you get your material? You guys should create the checklist yourself. Each position, you went to each position and just sort of worked out the checklist for each one. Is that how that went?
Correct. Right. So each position has a checklist, I mean, like I said, right down to the junior assistant, putting doing the laundry, folding the laundry. I mean, everything.
Wow,
And,
wow.
yeah, I hate to say this, even how the toilet paper is, over, not under. So it is probably a little over the top. I'm not OCD, but I want things the way I want them. So when somebody comes into the office, my name is on that, and it should look stellar, and it should look clean and inviting. And that's what I expect when I go somewhere. I want somebody, when I walk through that door, I want them to look up at me. Hello, don't be on the phone or hit the next receptionist. She better acknowledge that patient, right? So, but the training materials we have are from some different consultants that we are also with. I believe you also have checklists. I
Oh yeah,
believe
totally. Yeah.
you have the whole training thing, and that's where I know my gals, also use them. So I have a variety. It's just not one because I've been around a long time, but so from the receptionist post, how to answer the phone, and or if somebody wants to reschedule, like they were drilling this morning. Okay, so that neuropathy patient for their next appointment cancel. No, that's not allowed. So let's drill this. And my case manager and my marketing person were actually drilling that, how it should go. So that's nice. That's what you want to see when you come in.
Yeah, you mentioned actually that you look to correct before you look to reprimand. You mentioned that earlier. I think that's so many folks, they get upset and but you realize usually the person is willing and trying to give you what you want, but there was a failure in the training, or maybe in your case the checklist was a little off or wasn't seen or something like that.
That's right. And you know what? And I think we all can do that. I'm like, all right, so before I fly off the handle, were they trained in A, B, or C? And, and because we have so much production going on here, and we do IVs with nutrition as well. And we're busy, but even with it's DMEs, we have policies and procedures for all that. They train on how to put, the braces on, the knee braces on, the medical does it, orthotics, like we have a script for everything. So, but, if I hear something and it's not right, and I'll write it down, a note for myself, because I don't want to, right? You want to praise in public and reprimand, or, ask questions in private. And I think sometimes we all need to bite our tongue sometimes, right? Especially if you have a crazy day. And so I'll just write a little note. Okay, saw Mary saying this, not okay, look it up. So at the end of the shift, I have a note, and I'm like, okay, and I'll just email the right terminal, right? So if it's the receptionist, because she works under the receptionist, I'll say, hey, was she trained in this? Look it up for me. And if not, okay, great. She needs to come in earlier tomorrow, 45 minutes to train and drill.
Great.
But that's how you get everybody on the same page, I think.
Yeah, well, they know exactly what's expected because it's written down. I think too often the training is done verbally. And so, how would you like to learn chiropractic verbally? Like people can then refer back to it. They can clear it up. They understand what they're looking at, and they know what they're doing, and they know exactly what's expected. I think
and we have a lot of PowerPoints too. Like we have a new doc, and I'm like, okay, I want you, even though I do most day 1 through 4s or 3s, whatever, I still want you to know how to do a good report of findings and how I expect it. And they're like, well, I know how to do it. I'm like, great, good, but I want you to study this, and then we'll drill, and then we'll see, because everybody has to be delivering it the same way, right? So, and as long as they know that, they may get a little like, I've had all this education. Yeah, get over that. And let's just be in real life time. We all got the degrees of somewhat, but let's just take a chip off the shoulder and work together as a team to get a better functional patient clinical outcome. And that's what we're all about.
Yeah, that's great. It's like you've taken standard of care to every aspect of working with your practice. From when someone walks in, the standard of care is hello, right? And not hello on the phone or something. I love that.
Yeah. It's very inviting. Even when you come in, everything's open. It's pretty. It's very inviting.
Yeah. It's obviously the larger you get, the better the facilities you can afford, and the better things get. It's like it builds on itself. How much growth have you seen? Like, okay, you've obviously started your practice quite a while. Like in the last, few years, how much growth have you seen? Like a lot of people, how was like last year compared to this year? How, what's it looking like?
So so even with COVID, we were so busy. I know a lot of practices here closed down. They were doing, well, nothing. And then they did virtual, but I mean, we saw at least 35% growth, 40% growth during that time.
Wow.
We didn't shut down, like not one day, not any day, any day. In fact, we were so busy because now we were offering IV nutrition for the patients that were afraid maybe of COVID. So we said, well, what, don't be reactive, let's be proactive. So this is what I'm doing every 2 weeks. I'm getting my IV, and why aren't you? And let's take this. And because we do nutrition too. So
Yeah.
we had tremendous growth, and patients, we had to do it a little different, obviously, because we were in New Jersey too with COVID, but it worked out great. So we've only been growing more and more. Yeah. And the
Yeah.
numbers, show that. Sure.
Yeah, good. But that's what's supposed to, I mean, in adversity, you can grow. There's always an opportunity somewhere in no
Right.
matter what's going on. And fortunately or unfortunately, there's always a demand, for better health. People need that no matter what's going on in the world. So
Mhm.
yeah, it really seemed two kind of practice owners in this last year, guys who kind of took a step back and kind of went into the hiding a little bit. And guys who are like, okay, let's go bigger,
That's right. A different opportunity. And that's how we looked at it. Say, okay, if people are afraid, let's help those people not be afraid. And I mean, I had to hire another nurse just to do the IVs under the NPs because we were doing like 20, 25 a day. And
Wow.
when you can, different insurances were reimbursing, quite nice, $300 or $400 per IV.
Wow. Okay,
Crazy.
good. Now,
Yeah.
I guess you have a mix of cash and insurance because of all the different services you have there. What's
Yeah.
your percentages like?
I want to say actually probably 65% insurance and 35% cash. We do a
Okay.
lot of cash plans. Yep.
Yeah, good.
Which
Yeah,
is
because
nice.
some of the best stuff isn't covered.
That's cool. And yeah, and that's what we want to be ready for that, so with, again, your marketing, when we do some different, even like for spinal decompression. So we market that, and that's all cash. Patients go, can we, insurance is going to pay. Oh, I can't wait to get pulled. I'm like, no, 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 no. I said, I don't even have an MRI yet. I said, I don't even know if you qualify. So in the office, when they come in to first meet us, like a lot of the marketing that we do, they come in as what we call a tour. And I don't know if they qualify for me to see them for the next appointment. And that's how I set that visit up too. Like, listen, you're here today, but I don't know if you qualify for me to come back to see me, if I can help you, or I'm not the right doctor. So they actually want me to say that they qualify to come back because of all the different services. And I tell them, we have handouts, very accessible in the office. A lot of the work that we do here is not covered by insurance. And we explain that. And, but they're tired of, taking drug to drug to drug. So the ones that don't want to pay, then they can that's okay. It's totally all right. I said, I'm not going anywhere. You can always come back,
Yeah.
but so it works well. But that's 65-35. Yeah.
Yeah, great. Well, that's also a very good way to position things. It is the right relationship that they're coming to you for help, and you're trying to figure out, can I help you? And the payment is not the thing. It's underneath there somewhere. But it's better that they're looking to you for that, right? Instead of you trying to sell them or something.
That's right. And correct. So it's always about their end goal, whether it be neuropathy or something. And it's funny because the ones who do bring up money at the end, myself or then my case manager who helps me, we feel that we failed because we didn't get their real reason why they were there. Because if you're going to lose a foot, what's your foot worth, right? I mean, I don't know, 5,000, 10,000. I don't know. I'd pay anything to keep my feet. So we really take that personal. And then my case manager and I will drill, like, what did we do wrong? And we go back to our notes, because we have notes, and we listen to it every day. Like on my manager's way to work, she listens to the report of findings for our neuropathy, like for 20 minutes. So it's always in her ear, back and forth, so we can get better to help that patient.
Wow, that is a phenomenal level of review too, and also quite a great viewpoint of like, okay, if somebody walks away, because what happens with a lot of practitioners is they say, here's what it's going to take to help you, right? They honestly know, this is what I think I can help you, and here's what it costs me to deliver that, and here's what I got to charge you. And the person goes, no, and leaves, right? Then I heard a great quote recently that people can afford what they value, right?
Right. Correct. Right.
Matt Christensen, interviewing him yesterday. Actually, he said that's a great quote. I'm going to use that.
Yeah.
But that means if someone leaves, now what other people do is they'll go, oh well, maybe my packages are too expensive, or maybe I'm trying to sell them too much, or maybe blah 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 blah. Instead,
Right.
if you've got the checklist of how should it be done correctly, you go, well, somewhere I didn't make the point about value, and
That's
then you
right.
go with another person and you work it out, so you
Hmm.
can leave that one behind and be there and present with the next person.
Right.
That's a key right there. You've got so many great things just naturally put in at your office. It's amazing. I mean, you've got,
Learning. It's a little learning curve. I mean, and you know, like you say, you know, yes, we train every week, but I also myself personally, I'll go once a month, once every 2 months for more training, right, to make myself better. And depending upon what avenue that we're studying, I'll take the staff who have earned that. And so we'll go to Florida and we're going to learn about XYZ, right? Or we'll go to Florida and learn about decompression. And my, you know, the girls or the guys, whatever, that are helping, you know, doing that, the LCAs, they get that as a bonus. So they get their own hotel rooms and, you know, so we make it nice and we'll do something special because it's an acknowledgement, right? That they've earned that to go. Now I won't pay them there to be there, but they've earned that, right? And then, yeah, it's a great weekend and you build that camaraderie as well.
yeah, I think that's really important. I mean, the training is not to be some kind of burden. It's to be something like,
No,
oh, it's you get better, you feel more comfortable and stable, because a trained staff person, they feel stable and
right,
know when they're doing right, and they know they're not going to get yelled at or fired for some stupid reason or whatever. They
right,
know, and that stability, I think, is super key. And I think patients pick up on that immediately when they walk into an area. Do these people feel competent? You know,
right.
and that's seems like what you've created there. All right, well, fantastic. So, all right, well, what are your plans for the future? What are you looking to do next? What's you're in the same environment the rest of us are in. What's your next move?
Again, keep using you guys.
Well, that's good. Thank
But
you.
yeah, for the marketing for sure. I mean, you guys are doing a great job. Again, um, I want to continue to I want to say my niche, but I want to continue working with the neuropathy patients. They're a challenge. They're hard for me. So that's where I see myself. And of course, with all the decompression patients we see, and you know, the different regenerative patients, just do it better and do more of it. You know, my daughter just joined the practice. She's Dr. Morgan Cunico, and she's has her sports medicine degree from Life as well. So I want to also, not ingrain, but I want her to go actually out this summer, which she doesn't know yet, and meet all the athletic trainers at the local high schools and private schools, you know, where she went to school and whatnot. So, because her goal is to work on, you know, all athletes, right? So because of where I am, it's a little harder. So we'll be most likely moving down the road just a bit. And I'm going to have her have this big training area where she can do Graston and whatnot and work on more of the athletes. So yeah, I'm excited about that.
Okay, so yeah, new facilities, bigger stuff, more outreach. I mean, that's
More, yeah, more toys. We're looking at the like the extra, you know, EPAT machines and just, yeah, just more machines to help for, again, better clinical outcomes for the athletes. Yep.
yeah, that's a good idea. And you've got, it's great is you've got the flow through your practice that if you bring a new service in, you can pretty immediately, like we use a database reactivation service, you use probably through us, that
Mhm.
if you get something new, you just offer it to everybody you've already talked to, and you get people who are already interested, so you can immediately pay for your new equipment, hopefully, no matter how it's expensive. So it helps you take the edge off that, right? That's
And it's funny because again, my case manager, Cindy, you know, like they know your system and I don't want to micromanage. That's something that's hard for me to do. So like when you say these words to me, I'm like, yeah, yeah, well, Cindy's doing that. And I know they love your flow. And I'm like, yeah, because I'm trying not to micromanage that, but I know that you do have a great system that she loves. So
oh yeah, great. Yeah, our ASAP system. Yeah, the I think you were actually the first practice we put on that system when we released
oh,
it.
really?
After we
There
took it
you
out
go.
of beta, you were the first live one. They're like, okay, this is supposed to work, right?
Great. Oh, good. It did.
You like to be sure. Yeah, well, I like the fact that you are actually someone who works on your business and not in your business. You know what's going on, but you're not obsessively introverted into every piece of it that you can't sleep at night.
Right. And that's important too, to work. That's exactly what you said. Right. So, I mean, I work a little bit in it as far as all the new patients I do, but where I can also have time where I'm working at it, right? You know, so with all the different divisions and I have more admin time so we can have more growth because I was just in the trenches, like on the floor, like all day, 12, 13 hours. And then, it's hard. It's hard to plan. And that's why, yeah, all right. I look at my emails every day. I'm studying every day, 6 to 7 weeks, 6 to 7 days a week, just because it's my practice. And I always want to get better too. So,
Yeah. Well, that's very important. Is most practitioners think they have to just put in those huge long hour days to get the production up. But if you can get other people to produce
that,
out of what you've thought up, your checklist, your standards,
right.
and other staff, you get free of that. Then you can watch it and see it and then control it. So you're above the business in a way. You're actually above it as an operation. And then you go, oh, there's a problem there, I'll fix it. Oh, there's a problem there, I'll fix it.
Right. And exactly. Or I see an out point. I'm like, oh, that we got to get a better way. I didn't realize you guys were doing that, or if they're doing trigger point injections. And so just putting systems in. So if I'm not in it all day long and I can see it, then we can make it better. And that's what and also, I mean, as much as I say I do work, I mean, I do have free time, right? So now I'm actually, my days off are Friday, Sunday, but now I just delinquished, or I gave the other doctor Saturday. So technically, I guess I have a 3-day weekend, but I still do time for admin on Friday. But it's weird for me because I always have been in it so heavy, but now I have more think time, more thought process, so I can see clearer, I believe. And then, do my hobbies, horseback riding, exercise, and whatnot.
Yeah, great. Yeah, because when you're in the trenches all day, you can't really see the big picture, and sometimes strategy is a business owner's job. I mean,
that's right.
No matter what you've got to look ahead and say, where do we need to be in 6 months or a year? How do I grow this long term? And that's what you do, right?
Yeah, and it's good to be away, clear-minded, and think. Hiking or whatever. Yeah.
Oh yeah, of course. Get some space and feel good about life. Yeah, I love it. Yeah, exactly. Okay, well, fantastic. So, I think I've kind of, what I try to do in these interviews is suss out what is it you've got that's made you so successful. And my guess here, if I can give it back to you, is you've got systems and checklists and standards that you put in without a lot of effort, without a lot of duress. It's just trained in, and people I bet they love working there. I bet your staff love working there.
Yeah, they are. They're very busy. They do love it. It's a high production. Right. So morale is based on production. So a very high production workplace, your morale is very high. Like we're laughing at night, we're high-fiving, we're dancing with some neuropathy patients because they can dance,
That's awesome.
I mean, so it's very high toned. It's not, even though yes, we have bad cases that come in that fractures and stuff, but it's a very high tone place, it's not negative. And like I said, we're high-fiving. We'll even walk the patients out. Even yesterday, I was walking a patient out that had neuropathy, just talking to him, say, hey, look, you're doing great, and they like that. As stupid as that may sound, but I'm like, oh, I see him. I'm going to go run out, and
well, if you're not all frazzled because you're worked to death, you can do that kind of cool stuff.
Right. And the patients, wow, like the doctor came out and like running after me in the parking lot, or, and not only that, but even anybody like the case manager, when they first meet them and they do sign them on for a program, it's not just a sign on. We really want to see that end product. So the case manager makes it her business to say, hey, Sally, how are you doing? How's that numbing and tingling you had in your fingers? Great, awesome. Or she'll go up and she goes, you don't look good today, and they feel that, that the caring, I guess. Yeah. Being empathetic.
Yeah. Well, because, obviously all this stuff doesn't work without the purpose underneath it. And that is what just ooze it. Once you've got, if you've got a good purpose and you're executing it well, and you're doing it well, everybody in the world can tell. It's the most obvious thing about you,
But I know though, you think you're good, but you can always be better. And that's how I view myself. So I never want to be complacent, or I'm always like, okay, what else can we do to help the patient? What else can I do to better help the staff that that they are happy here, right? And you make the workplace better for them, like you said, right? So it's good, taking little trips here and there.
Yeah, little rewards. That's great. It sounds like fun.
Yeah.
I'll come work for you. It sounds like fun.
I love it.
Marketing manager. I'll a little stool. I'll sit on the side. No, it's wonderful. Okay, good. Well, you said some really nice things about my company, the Customer Factory. If I can ask you a few questions about that, what was it like new patient marketing before you started working with us?
I hated it. It was always hard. We would go out, especially where I'm located. Again, we're in a little tiny town, and it was always like, okay, we need to get 8 new patients a week, right? And like that was a lot, believe it or not. And so where do you get them from if it's not your direct patient referral? And we did everything, postcards, not TV ads, newspaper ads, gross marketing. We never really did, what you guys had. And it was hard, yeah, I mean, 24 maybe new ones, but a month, but that's not where we wanted it to be. So again, before COVID, I did at least 1 to 2 lunch and learns, what we call them, on different businesses. And you go there, half of them just came for the free food.
Yeah.
Or I only did 1 or 2 dinner lectures, and I know a lot of people still are very successful with them. But and when I used to do health talks, right, making my patients come to trigger point workshops, and then I have to spend another hour at the office after I was already done to like 8 o'clock. And, we feed them pizza at the end. It was just crazy, to have them, they had to bring a friend, and I did everything. And it was hard, and it was just more work, more hours. And the end product wasn't good. So if I had a trigger point workshop, I was lucky I got 1 or 2 new ones from that.
Yeah, right. It could be a lot of throughput to get just a little bit of result on that.
Yeah, it was crazy. And then I don't know. I do know how we stumbled upon you through my consultant. And he's like, yeah, go check them out. And I'm like, I don't know what the hell you guys did, because I'm really not that tech savvy. I am not, even trying to get you guys up on this on the Ring Central here. But so when we turned over to you guys, it was a whole different, I mean, like I said, I never in my life had a 2-3 week waiting list that every single day, like every hour was totally booked. Now, when I say that, no, we were very busy adjusting and all that, but not the new patient, like not 8 or 10 a day like we are now. And that's all really because of you guys. And then I will accommodate my staff for sure, or giving them high accolades. They're right. As soon as they see a lead, they're on it and they're calling. Yesterday, one woman was just whatever. She had to do something on her way to work. And my case manager's like, I'm going to call all these leads if she's not in here soon. I'm like, no, don't bypass her. Let her do it. And that's because, they know the leads are hot and they're qualified. And actually, and that's very important. I would go to a lot of seminars too before I give seminars, and they weren't qualified, right? For many various reasons I'm not going to get into, but and we've used also other marketing companies, by the way, right? And the quality of the patient wasn't there, or the potential patient wasn't there. With you, I don't know exactly what you guys do all in the back, like the Wizard of Oz behind the curtain, the great wizard or something, but your algorithms are, but we have found that your leads are much more qualified, and that's great. So again, like I told my husband, Mark, it was funny. We were supposed to do something with our Chamber of Commerce. I paid for it like 2 years ago, like right before COVID, and then COVID hit. We're supposed to be doing this big blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, Cindy, I don't even want to pay staff to go there and do all the work, because we don't need to, so why am I going to send her? Okay, yes, to send my good name out. It's already a good name, but now I'm going to lose 2 girls, where that one, she can be calling leads all evening. So I'm like, no, they know me. And yes, we'll go to the breakfast and lunch things, that they offer, but I just ate the money that we spent because our time's more valuable producing in the office.
Wow, great. That's totally getting
yeah.
Most guys want to get away from the screenings, and you're turning them down. I don't need that stuff. I don't need those seminars. I'm good.
I know. And because I'm, I still have a little one. I have a 15-year-old. So, I got to spend time with her sports, or go here and there, or to be a wife, you want to have a good dynamic at home too. And I know a lot of docs who do work, it's hard, things can suffer.
Okay, good. And there's something we keep track of here at our company, probably been asked a few times, but we always say, since you joined us, what percentage growth would you say you've seen with your practice?
Right. And I did look at that, and that's where I came up with that. Like, I want to say 38, % with new ones. I mean, that's pretty high, 38 to 40%. Cindy may even go a little higher,
Okay. 38% even over the COVID year.
Yeah, for sure.
Fantastic. But also because a lot of great hustle. Well, good. I always say, because it takes good marketing to make a great practice, and you've got a great practice already, and I'm happy we can help you with that. That is my thrill, because we keep track of here how many people we divert every week from the cut and drug club, we call it, into chiropractic and holistic. And it's the, I love doing that. I love hearing 8 people a day. Fantastic. We'll do that for you. Okay. Well, good. So is there anything else as far as advice you give to somebody if somebody's looking out there right now and they're thinking, oh, I don't know if I can do that. She's doing great. How could I possibly ever do that? You have any words of encouragement for them? Or direction they could take?
Right. I mean, if you don't try, you're never going to know, or you're not going to succeed. So again, with me, it was like, okay, I don't even, like I said, I don't even know what you guys did. Like, all right, here, you're going to call Customer Factory up and you're going to go ahead and like, let's see what they do. And I still can't figure out the whole thing. But for your bang for the buck and qualified leads, you just got to do it, unless they really like doing screenings. I mean, I just don't have the time or you crap. So it would be easy for them to check you guys out. It's well worth the money. Like I said, I've done more, I've done several, we always did it with you because we were always watching our stats. We do stats obviously too, in every division we do here every week and every month we do stats. So we know what's working and what's not working. So when your company is and doing awesome, so they would be silly, I think not to try you. Your company, and I'm not getting paid or anything like that.
I know.
It's just,
Thank you.
for me, it's a blessing. As I tell my husband, who's my confidant, I'm like, my God, I've never in over 25 years, since 1992, have ever had a waiting list for like 3 weeks. And even though now we're open 6 days a week, and when I say that, we still work 12, 13 hours, even now we're booked, for 2 weeks out still, even with opening up those other days. So it's kind of crazy, but it's awesome. So let them, if they want to work, there's work to be had, and there's a lot of patients to be helped. And
even in a small town, you can be booked solid.
That's right, with bobcat flying out of your trees.
Right,
Yeah.
right. You don't have to be in downtown Manhattan to have a big successful practice and help a lot of people. That's what I think is wonderful.
And I think if patients feel your, sincerity, I mean, we have people that come 45 minutes to an hour and a half away for care, and they'll come 2-3 times a week.
Yeah. See that?
Yeah. So it doesn't matter if you have what they need and they understand, you can help them, and again, procedures are a must, stats are a must, but you can have all that, but if you don't have good marketing, you have nothing.
Right. Well, it all blend that works together. But if you don't have what you got, good marketing doesn't help either. It's like the thing I love the most is finding a good practice and making it great, because you're already doing the right things. You've already, like with all the delivery you do, it's amazing. How many, I don't know how I've never seen, I looked on your website. I've never seen as many different services delivered by one practice as you guys do. So I know you've got your stuff wired.
Right. Well, and you know what, but we have protocols for everything too, right? So procedures and protocols, especially for the, our medical team, they live in protocol world, and that's a little different for the chiropractic. I mean, I know we have protocols, but they follow protocols more so. They want protocols.
Well, great. Well, good. Well, I feel like okay. So thank you so much for sharing all your wisdom. I think anybody's watched this far along is definitely the kind of person going to win from it. And awesome. This is exactly what I want to do with this show, is show people they can win and they can build a big practice where they are, and we can help a lot of people out there, because it's up to us.
That's right. And I know a lot of people, let me just say that, yes, insurance is insurance, but you can't rely on insurance for everything at all. As we know, it's going to get less, but when you have great services, they're going to come to you, and with your marketing, they will pay you the money, for those cash services that you have, and not to be afraid, because you just got to let that go. Because I was afraid. I was in network. I'm totally out of network with everybody now, but we make it work, and that was big too. Like I was getting reimbursed $17 an adjustment. I'm like, how much? I mean, I'm like, what am I, nuts here? What am I doing? I can't even pay my staff with that. So, I did have a wake up call about 2.5 years ago, but again, to make sure that you're doing cash services and insurance, of course, and with your phys med, and that's fine. And you can make millions doing that, and that's great, but it's nice to have cash as well as part of that million.
There's no longer anybody between you and the patient when you have a cash service. And I think if you look at insurance, it's great for what it is, but it shouldn't be the determining factor whether someone gets help or not.
That's correct. And that's how we align it all the time here. It's great. You have insurance, but it's not going to cover what you need, and then they get over that if they want to get help. If not, it's okay. There's a door. It's okay. Nicely.
Of course. Yeah. All right, good. Well, thank you so much for spending your time with me today and sharing all this with everybody. I really appreciate it, and I think we're going to help some people out by seeing this episode, and they can go forth and do great things.
Well, thank you very much, and I hope that they do take away that you really do need good marketing, and we really have been crazy busy with you guys. So
thank you. But they also need great systems, otherwise marketing will blow you up. If you don't,
Correct. Right. You have to be
whenever
ready.
people come to the door and you don't have checklists like you have, it will be a disaster.
You're right. You're 100% right.
So peanut butter and jelly, right? Get them both together. It's a wonderful sandwich. Not good for you, but a wonderful sandwich. Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you. Take care, John.